Good morning, you're with me, Stefan Lehman from Bedford Edenvale newspaper, Caxton Local Media. Today we're here with Councillor Hart at the Isandovale Wetland, which has become, the residence of recyclers and vagrants in the area. Just up the road at the Sibenza Cemetery, there's actually a temporary structure and little enclave where a couple of vagrants are living. And actually behind Councillor Hart you can see a bag full of recyclable materials, and if I turn the camera you can see a damaged perimeter fence which allows the vagrants access to the area. So Councillor Hart, how long has this been a problem in the area for?
Hi Stefan, thanks. We've had this problem since at least 2012. I think the first issue was actually the fact that the fence was broken, mostly by accidents, and that allowed vagrants in those days, really genuine homelessness, to become a problem in the area. But going back to those days, we had a very responsive EMPD who would come in and who would remove the homeless people, who would remove their shacks. And the problem would be temporarily solved. However, more recently it has become a much more serious problem and it has really been exacerbated by the advent of recyclers. Unfortunately, because the Metro has not introduced a proper recycling program, any kind of a registration process or permitting even of the recyclers, it has become a free-for-all, and unfortunately, because of the incredibly bad economic climate, it is one way that people actually can make money, and most of these people are genuinely doing a good job on keeping a lot of plastic and a lot of recyclables out of our landfill, but unfortunately they have no facilities where they can strip, and so they're starting to invade our once pristine wetland areas like the Isandovale Wetland here that we're standing next to. I mean, it's absolutely exquisite. And you can see how they're beginning to denigrate the area. The same thing is now happening in Isandovale, unfortunately. The problem comes about now in that the EMPD is no longer allowed to merely remove the vagrants, the homeless, the squatters, whatever you want to call them. And the initiating department needs to call them in. So in this case, is it real estate? Or is it parks? And quite often I get bounced between the one and the other. For example, the fence definitely needs to be replaced by real estate. This is Metro-owned property, but because it's a wetland, they're saying, oh no, it belongs to environmental resource management.
So you're being thrown between multiple departments.
No one wants to take responsibility for the fact that this fence needs to be repaired in order to stop recyclers and squatters from actually invading the property and destroying it. But it's become it's become a security concern now. It's become an environmental concern because clearly we don't want plastics and burning of metals and people defecating in our wetland, which is really it's the natural reservoir, the water
purification, yes,
plant, for our water.
And now, Councillor Hart, you mentioned the security issue. I mean, the residents in the area, I've seen the emails going back and forth, between the department, yourself, and the residents. And now the residents, they are quite concerned. I mean, what are some of the concerns they've brought to your attention?
Well, first of all, it is not safe to walk down this road, especially not if you're a woman.
Yeah.
And it is a route that many people need to use because you don't know what is in the bush and what's going to come out of the bush.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, it would not be safe if you actually broke down here because, anything could happen.
Yeah.
So and many of the residents across the road in Isandovale feel that the crime in the area is as a result of people living
in this open property here.
As you can see, us standing here, you can't see a shack there, but there are probably 20 within this wetland area.
Yeah, it's very overgrown. It's very enclosed.
Yeah. And I mean but for the grace of God, I know it's a terrible situation, and both the municipality plus province should be doing a lot more to help these people. We should have shelters. That policy should be in place, but I mean that also we started in 2012 and hasn't seen fruition. So the end result is that basically our environment and our residents and myself are left at the mercy of of departments who don't want to, or who can't, or take responsibility. And there's just, I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. It's incredibly frustrating. We don't, as a community, we don't have the resources to resolve this issue.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't afford to put a fence up here, and the municipality should do it. So it's kind of like you're on this road to nowhere, this hiding to nowhere. You send the emails, you expect your departments to be responsive. I mean, really, this fence should have been fixed in 2013, 2014.
A few months after it was reported, yes.
Now in desperation, I've actually put it on my Ward 18 IDP, which I should really not have had to.
Yeah.
But the issue of homelessness, the Department of Social Development's social workers are now once again doing a program that we started a few years ago with the police reserves, where we're going, and the Baptist Church,
yes,
where we're going to profile homeless people, find out why they're here, seeing if we can relocate them. Just the other day, one of the homeless people living in just near the community center, I happened to meet up with him and have a discussion with him, and he helped me clean up some of the community center, and I gave him a little gratuity, and his gratitude was actually quite humbling. But he said what he was going to do with that money is that he was going to go back to Limpopo, because he'd come down here looking for a job and he hadn't been able to find one. So in many cases, all they need is actually to get a lift back to wherever they came from.
Yeah.
And but there again, I mean, we could be giving these people skills. At one stage, when I was a newbie councillor, we tried to have skills development programs,
upliftment programs, yeah.
And Kanyisa were the perfect people to run it, but we just hit so many
much
obstacles,
red tape.
so much red tape that nothing gets off the ground. I mean, we've got an amazingly resourced community. Why don't they give us some of the community centres so we can set up skills development programs?
Yeah.
But if I had to try and do that, I mean, I have tried, in fact. We have tried in the past, and it gets nowhere, because you don't get buy-in from the departments.
No, but thank you very much, Councillor. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Stefan. Thanks for your time.